Coming up on 21st Century. For the thousands imprisoned here, it was hell on earth.
This place was full of cries, the screams of children, of mothers, of fathers.
Finally, the alleged mastermind of this inferno will face his victims.
The whole of humanity demands a just and proportionate response to these crimes.
But some are asking, what would you have done in his place?
Who today can say that they would have acted differently under these circumstances?
Hello and welcome to 21st Century. I'm Daljit Dhaliwal. From Nazi Germany to Rwanda to Yugoslavia, the world has attempted to bring some measure of justice to the victims of mass atrocities. But there has never been an international tribunal like the one in Cambodia, where a reign of terror decimated more than 1/4 of the population more than 3 decades ago. In this special edition of 21st Century, we take you inside the first case heard by this unique court. They came by the busload, gathered in villages throughout Cambodia, about to witness history in the making.
នៅថ្ងៃនេះសវនាការនេះនៅចំពោះមុខប្រជាជនកម្ពុជានិងពិភពលោកជាយូរមកហើយដែលនៅទីបំផុតដំណើរការនេះបានចាប់ដើមឡើងហើយយុត្តិធម៌នឹងត្រូវធ្វើបានសម្រេច
It's the first tribunal ever held in the nation where the atrocities were committed. It will put on the record secrets that many in this small Southeast Asian country want buried. It's been accused of being too expensive, too slow, too late. But for at least one of the victims of Cambodia's nightmare, it is as essential as air.
ឲ្យរឿងរដ្ឋាភិបាលយើងនឹងឲ្យមានច្បាប់កាត់ទោសខ្មែរក្រហមកាលណាយើងមិនបានកាត់ទោសដូចជារូបខ្ញុំដូចជារូបអូនឯងថ្ងៃក្រោយធ្វើបានដូចគ្នាទេ
Chumei is haunted by powerful memories. His wife and 3 children were among the murdered. He was imprisoned and tortured. He cannot rest until his tormentor is held accountable.
ប្រធានគុកទួលថ្លៃហ្នឹងតែខ្ញុំអត់ដើរឃើញមុខវាទេឮតែគេថាទេពួកកូនខ្ញុំជំនាន់ក្រោយវាអត់ដឹងថានឹងមេអានេះអ៊ុក្រិតជនសម្លាប់គ្មានត្រាបណី
Who was Duch? Was he a master of criminals responsible for thousands of deaths? Or was he also a victim of the Khmer Rouge? This is the story of 2 men and a nation's long-delayed quest for justice. It all began in the 1970s. Southeast Asia was in turmoil. The Vietnam War was winding down, but civil war raged in neighboring Cambodia. On April the 17th, 1975, the communist Khmer Rouge seized power. Within 24 hours, Cambodia's capital, Phnom Penh, was emptied out. Its residents forcibly marched into the countryside with little but what they could carry. Those who resisted were shot. រត់ទៅផ្ទះខ្ញុំនាំប្រពន្ធកូនអីរៀបចំអីវ៉ាន់ចុះមកដើម្បីធ្វើដំណើរចេញពីទីក្រុងភ្នំពេញ Chumei was a 45-year-old mechanic when he was forced from Phnom Penh at gunpoint. The Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, were determined to return Cambodia to what they called Year Zero, an agrarian society. Most Cambodians were forced to labor in the fields. There would be no professionals, no schools, no money. But even as the population obeyed, the increasingly paranoid regime questioned everyone's loyalties, including Chumei's. On October 28, 1978, he was separated from his family
told he was being taken to repair vehicles. Instead, he was taken here to the notorious Tuol Sleng prison, a former school now known as S21.
ខ្ញុំជាប់ខ្នោះដៃអញ្ចឹងជាប់ខ្នោះដៃចេះតែអញ្ចឹងទៅហើយអាមុខវាចងកមាជាប់ចេះដើរអញ្ចឹងទៅដើរចូលមកអញ្ចឹងបានទៅអញ្ចឹងទៅវាបដាល់រហូតទៅអញ្ចឹង
S21's inmates were teachers, lawyers, journalists. Each one meticulously photographed, men, women and children.
អាកន្លែងនេះកន្លែងដាក់ខ្ញុំនេះខ្ញុំនាំមកទុកខ្ញុំអា022នេះកន្លែងដាក់ច្បាក់ដល់ហើយវាដាក់ច្បាក់ជើងអញ្ចឹងយើងដេកបាទហើយតែយើងប្រែខ្លួនឬសូរច្បាក់អាហ្នឹងវាយ50ពាត់អី100ពាត់អីវាយយើង
On Chum May's first day at S21, he was taken for interrogation inside this room, its floor already covered in blood. The objective, to force him to confess to supposed foreign loyalties.
I perhaps I strong mouth. I can tongue boy him out mean say car say bay nothing him out squally. The highway trap nuông rau young mo. That nuông rau young knock him pum.
The initial interrogations and torture continued for 12 agonizing days.
Not only torture. ខ្ញុំអត់មានកំហុសអីបងហើយវាយខ្ញុំវាយយ៉ាងហ្នឹងគឺអីទៅមើលបងខ្ញុំមានកំហុសទៅខ្ញុំមិនថាទេតែខ្ញុំអត់មានកំហុសអីបងវាយខ្ញុំវាយយ៉ាងហ្នឹង
This brutal treatment was meted out routinely, says this former interrogator.
Chồng đáy nó chặn chỗ đáy đọ chỗ tất cả.
Prak Korn, then just 20 years old, was taught to torture at S21.
Cái phần riêng vì lực biệt thư tổ đơn được cam lực biệt pra chất xa lực biệt pra nhiều bài.
He was prison director Kaing Guek Eav, known as Comrade Duch. A former science teacher, Duch now taught the art of cruelty.
Bao nhiêu plastic á, trọ, rung chích, oi thọc nọ đằng hôm nhưng mưa thà đừng thọc láng mà nọ làng mình, rồi thà một bạn mà đấy.
But for inmates he deemed useful, Duch had special plans. Prisoner Van Nat had been an artist. Duch ordered him to paint portraits of Khmer Rouge leader Pol Pot. Van Nat, who had been tortured at S21 so severely he could barely walk, knew that other artists before him had tried to please Duch. Most could not and were quickly put to death. Van Nat put his dark memories of those desperate days on canvas. The babies snatched from their mothers, the waterboarding, and other brutal torture techniques. Responsible for all of it, he says, was one man, Duch. But thousands were killed, In fact, trucks rumbled out of S21 every night at midnight, taking away prisoners to be executed at nearby killing fields. Hearing this was its own kind of torture.
នៅក្នុងម៉ោង 8 ម៉ោង 9 អានឹងយើងអត់ដេកលក់ទេយើងដឹងថាមិនដឹងគេមិនដឹងយើងយកឈ្មោះទៅនឹងមិនដឹងគេមិនដឹងយើងទេដល់តែម៉ោង 2 10 យប់បានយើងដេកលក់វាយកទៅសម្លាប់នៅបឹងជើងឯក
But even then, sleep was elusive. Too many other terrible sounds echoed in the night.
ពេលនោះជាកន្លែងអានេះសម្រែកឮទាំងពេញមកនឹងទាំងអស់មួយអាកូនយំក៏មានម្ដាយយំក៏មានអាពុកយំក៏មានអាម៉ែគេវាយនោះទៅអាកូនយំនៅនឹងទៅ
It was all too much for some prisoners. Many attempted suicide.
ខ្លះដុតចង្គៀងឲ្យសរសេរអីចឹងយកអាចង្គៀងប្រេងកាតហ្នឹងចាក់ស្រោចលើខ្លួនយកភ្លើងហ្នឹងដុតខ្លួនឯងខ្លះយកប៊ិចយើងសរសេរហ្នឹងប៊ិចយើងប៊ិចចកះខ្ញុំមកចាក់ពងកចាក់អីខ្លួនឯង ខ្ញុំរកកន្លែងលោតសម្លាប់ខ្លួនដែរប៉ុន្តែចម្រឹកនឹងវាជាប់ខ្ញុំថាលោតសម្លាប់ខ្លួនឬក៏សម្លាប់
Salvation came on December the 25th, 1979. Vietnam, which had been the target of Khmer Rouge attacks, invaded Cambodia and overthrew the Pol Pot regime. Comrade Duch and the guards fled. Then the gates of S21 swung open and its secrets spilled out. At least 15,000 people had been imprisoned here. Only 12 survived. Among them, 4 children, the artist Van Nat and Chum May. Chum May ran, desperate to find his wife. Remarkably, he did. She was carrying their baby. But in the chaos, gunfire broke out. Chum May's wife and child were tragically shot dead.
ប្រពន្ធខ្ញុំថាអូនអើយគូណាវាសម្លាប់ប្រពន្ធខ្ញុំកូន3នៅនេះនៅដៃវាយកទៅសម្លាប់ខ្ញុំមកដល់កន្លែងនឹងពេលណាទឹកភ្នែកពេលណា
The full measure of Cambodia's tragedy was stunning. Nearly 2 million, 1 in every 4 Cambodians had died. Many of starvation, exhaustion and disease. Tens of thousands more executed at killing fields like this one. It was not until UN-brokered elections in 1993 that a degree of political stability finally came to Cambodia. Now, Chum May and so many other victims could finally demand a reckoning.
ក៏យើងត្រូវតែកាត់ដើម្បីឲ្យអាដែងគ្នាដែងអាកូនចៅស្លាប់ទៅប្តីប្រពន្ធស្លាប់ទៅឲ្យអស់ចិត្តផង
The international community agreed. The most senior Khmer Rouge leaders would have to be prosecuted. But could Cambodia, where only 7 lawyers survived the Khmer Rouge, hold a legitimate trial? Negotiations would drag on for years. But at long last, an historic UN-supported tribunal was approved. The verdict would be decided by an international panel of judges, some Cambodian, some foreign. Case number 1 finally began in early 2009, more than 30 years after the atrocities were committed. The first defendant, held behind bulletproof glass, was the alleged mastermind of S21's machinery of death, Comrade Duch. The charges: murder, war crimes and crimes against humanity. Co-prosecutor Chia Liang began.
ក៏ភ័ស្តុតាងនឹងបង្ហាញឲ្យឃើញថាឧក្រិដ្ឋកម្មទាំងឡាយរបស់គាត់ គឺជាផ្នែកការវាយប្រហារដែលមានលក្ខណៈទូលំទូលាយនិងជាប្រព័ន្ធទៅលើប្រជាជនកម្ពុជាដែរ
In the packed courtroom sat Chum May, now 79, as his former captor made a dramatic confession.
ខ្ញុំសូមទទួលស្គាល់នៅការទទួលខុសត្រូវរបស់ខ្ញុំតាមផ្លូវច្បាប់ខ្ញុំសូមបញ្ជាក់ថាតាមផ្លូវច្បាប់ចំពោះអក្រិតកម្មទាំងអស់ដែលកើតមាននៅស21សំខាន់គឺសកម្មភាពធ្វើទារុណកម្មនិងសម្លាប់ប្រតិបត្តិអាយុជីវិតមនុស្ស
But Duch, now 67, insisted he had no choice. It was obey or die.
នេះជាបញ្ហាស្លាប់រស់របស់ខ្ញុំនិងគ្រួសារខ្ញុំក្នុងឋានៈខ្ញុំជាប្រធានស21ខ្ញុំអត់ហ៊ានគិតរគូរកលទ្ធភាពអីកាលពីអនុវត្តតាមបទបញ្ជារបស់ថ្នាក់លើទេទោះបីខ្ញុំដឹងថាការអនុវត្តនោះនាំទៅរកការបាត់បង់អាយុជីវិតមនុស្សរាប់ពាន់នាក់ក៏ដោយ
Did Duch order torture and killings willingly or out of fear? Was he a zealot or a pawn? The trial would pivot on these questions. Co-prosecutor William Smith.
The defence will say that he was a victim of the regime, had no choice, hated his job, and only carried out these acts because he was under threat of death. It's not a valid defence, duress of itself.
Duch acted out of conviction, not coercion, says Smith.
He was, say, a crusader, someone that wanted the revolution, the communist revolution, and did everything he could to achieve that.
Everything, including devising ingenious methods of torture and teaching them, as former interrogator Prak Korn testified. As for the question of duress, Van Nat, the artist who had survived on Duch's whim, testified that Duch never appeared scared or anxious.
On prend en considération, pour juger une personne, tous les éléments.
Defense attorney Francois Roux argues that Duch was not born an executioner, he became one.
Au début, il s'engage dans la révolution, il est plein de bonne volonté. Après, il a commencé à mettre la main, et puis le bras, et puis tout entier. Qui peut dire aujourd'hui que placé dans la même situation, cette situation qui devient petit à petit une situation de terreur absolue.
What's more, Roux contends Duch is now full of remorse. He says everyone, including Duch's victims, could see that when, as part of the trial, the court took him back to S21, the site of his crimes. As he waited to speak, Duch broke down. Duch was about to confront the misery he had inflicted when Chum May described his torture. But what would Duch's apologies mean to Chum May? When he finally testified more than a year later, Cambodia got its answer.
ខ្ញុំមិនបានយកទឹកភ្នែកគាត់ប្រមាណតំណក់ហ្នឹងមកលុបលាងប្រជាជនខ្ញុំរាប់លានអ្នកដែរអស់ជិត2លានអ្នកទឹកភ្នែកប្រជាជនខ្មែរអស់ជិត2លាន
The scars of his miserable days at Tuol Sleng prison are still raw.
រឿងខ្មែរក្រហមនឹងឡើងវានឹកដល់រឿងកូនមកពួនខ្ញុំអត់មានរស់រានមានជីវិតទាល់ថ្ងៃនេះទេពេលនោះខ្ញុំដេកចាំតែថ្ងៃស្លាប់ទេ
So, what is a just sentence for this accused? Do you believe him when he says he was a hostage and a prisoner of the regime from 19...
Where the judges stood on that question would determine Duch's punishment.
Co-prosecutor Smith implored the court to remember the thousands of Duch's defenceless victims.
Your Honours should be mindful of the dreams and opportunities that were denied. That the whole of humanity demands a just and proportionate response to these crimes. And this court must speak on behalf of that humanity.
Smith demanded a sentence of 40 years in prison, while defence attorney Roux argued that Duch's contrition warrants a sentence of time served.
Qui pourra contester les larmes de l'accusé? Duch a déjà payé le mal qu'il a fait. Renvoyez-le chez lui.
But in the trial's final hours, Roux and everyone else was in for a shock. Despite the fact that Duch had confessed several times, suddenly his other defence attorney, Kasavuth, demanded a total acquittal. He argued that more senior members of the Khmer Rouge, not Duch, were responsible.
គឺគាត់ជាអ្នកអបញ្ជារបស់បកកុម្មុយនីសកម្ពុជាដូច្នេះបកកុម្មុយនីសកម្ពុជាគឺជាឃាតករសម្រាប់ប្រជាជនកម្ពុជារាប់លានអ្នកសូមអង្គជំនុំជម្រះមេត្តាលើកលែងចោទប្រកាន់ឈ្មោះកាំងហ្គិចអ៊ីវហៅដូចពីបទចោទខាងលើ
Even Duch seemed startled by his lawyer's about-face. In an atmosphere of confusion, the court adjourned to deliberate. More than 8 months later, the judges filed in to deliver their verdict. Guilty on all counts. The sentence, 35 years in prison. Minus the time he has already served, Duch will be incarcerated for another 19 years. He showed no emotion, but outside, Khmer was devastated. For him, the sentence was a travesty.
ដែលកាប់សម្លាប់មនុស្សអស់រាប់លានលុយអស់រាប់លានដុល្លារហើយអាអ្នកកាប់សម្លាប់គេឲ្យរួចទោសអញ្ចឹងតើបងប្អូនសប្បាយចិត្តទេខ្ញុំអត់សប្បាយចិត្តទេខ្ញុំសម្រក់ទឹកភ្នែកមួយសាទៀតហើយបងប្អូនខ្ញុំសម្រក់ទឹកភ្នែកមួយសាទៀតហើយ
For Duch's victims, it is now more important than ever to keep the memory of those who perished alive. Van Nat's paintings are his tribute to the dead.
ដែលបានស្លាប់ទៅនឹងវាមិនអត់ប្រយោជន៍វាមិនត្រូវតែគេគុំតិចឲ្យទៅជាផង់ការឯកសារវានៅសល់ការចងចាំវានៅសល់ផុសតាងខ្លះ
Khmer continues to bear witness. He spends his days at S21, now a memorial to the dead. Despite his disappointment, he is proud of his testimony in the trial that finally forced his homeland to confront its terrible history.
សម្រាប់សំខាន់ណាខ្ញុំចង់កុំឲ្យដែលខ្ញុំស្លាប់ទៅកូនចៅខ្ញុំជំនាន់ក្រោយវាថាអាតាហ្នឹងដឹងរឿងរ៉ាវអីខ្មែរក្រហមកាប់សម្លាប់ប្រជាជនអស់រាប់លានអ្នកគាត់អត់និយាយប្រាប់ឯងមួយម៉ាត់គាត់ស្លាប់ទៅបាត់ឈឹង
tribunal's second case will begin next year. Pol Pot died 12 years ago, but 4 senior members of his regime now face an array of charges, including genocide. That's all for this edition of 21st Century. I'm Daljit Dhaliwal. We will see you next time. Until then, goodbye.